All right, guys, welcome back. And if today, for your table of contents, we are doing a monomial times a polynomial, mine fell on page 70. Y'all put yours where you were at. Once you have it written, you can go ahead and flip over to that page. And if you want to pause and write that for me, this is the first half of our notes, and then we're going to just do a few more afterwards. These should be pretty short, easy notes. When you're doing a monomial times a polynomial, remember that mono means one and poly means poly, not polo. Poly means many. So I'm doing one thing times many things. Okay, in other words, all we're doing is distributing. Okay, but be careful when you have letters because you must multiply coefficients and add exponents. So I don't have any coefficients here. I have k times k, which would give me k squared because there are two of them. And then when I do k times negative 9, that gives me negative 9k. I can't do anything else with this problem, so I am done. Now, when you move to problem 2, you have 3c times negative 2c minus 5. You have to multiply your whole numbers. So 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, and you have to add your letters, so that gives me c squared. Okay, from here, I got to take 3 and multiply it by negative 5, which gives me negative 15, and I have a c and no c's, so that's c1. These two things won't combine because they're not like, so you move on. So now multiplying your whole numbers or coefficients, 5 times 3 is 15. Add your letters. 2 and 2 make m to the fourth. Okay, 5 times negative, and there is a 1 there, so negative 5, and I have an m and an m, I have an m2 and an m1, which gives me m3. And then 5 times negative 7 is negative 35, and I have an m2 and no m, so just m2. These three things will not combine because they're all different m's, so you are done. Now, be careful when you have different letters. We're going to take 3 and we're going to multiply it by 1, which gives me 3. I have an x1 and an x2, which gives me x3. I have a y, and there's no y's here, so I just keep the y. Okay, now I do 3 times, again, it's a 1, which gives me a 3. I have an x1 and an x1, which gives me x squared. I have a y1 and a y1, which gives me y squared. Okay, I take the 3 and I multiply it by the last thing, which is again a 1, so plus 3. I have an x, and there's no other x's in that last piece, so I keep x. I have a y and a y squared, which 1 and 2 makes y to the third. These three pieces will not combine, and this is written in standard form because it goes x3, x2, x1. Okay, moving to my example 5, I have 10m to the fourth n times negative 2mn to the third plus 3n. I'm going to multiply those coefficients, and that gives me negative 20. And I'm going to add these letters. So an M4 and an M1 makes M5. An N1 and an N3 makes N4. Now I'm going to do 10 times 3, which gives me 30. And I'm going to take my M4. Excuse me. There are no other M's, so I just keep M4. And I take N1 and N1, and that gives me N squared. Since these letters are not the exact same, you are done. Okay, from here, what we are going to do is distribute and combine. So I'm just putting two steps together. Okay, so you're still applying that multiplication rule you just learned, but now you have to combine like terms. So we're going to take negative 2 and times it by 3, which gives me negative 6. X and x makes x squared. I'm going to take negative 2 and times it by negative 4, which gives me positive 8. And I have an x with no x's, so just x. And then bring down plus 7x. Okay, now these two pieces look alike, so I keep negative 6x squared, and 8 plus 7 becomes 15x, and you are done. Okay, for my second problem, I'm not distributing any coefficients, but I do have letters. So a y times a y, that's y squared, because 1 plus 1. A y times a 4 is a 4y. Okay, be careful here. This is a negative y, so a negative y times a y is a negative y squared. And a negative y times a negative 3 is a positive 3y. And then the minus 9y just gets brought down. Okay, my y squareds will go together, which in the long run, a positive and a negative end up canceling each other. 4y, 3y, and negative 9y all go together because the letter is the same. So this becomes 7 minus 9, which gives me negative 2y. And I'm done. Okay, for my last example, again, distributing, negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. I don't have a letter, so I just keep my letter. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Keep the letter because you don't have one to multiply by. And negative 2 times 6 is negative 12, and then there are no letters. Okay, now I distribute my 3m. So now we're distributing a letter. Be careful. So 3 times 2 is a positive 6. A m1 and a m2 make m3. 3 times 3 makes 9. A m1 and a m1 make m squared. And a 3 times 1 makes 3. And I have an m but no m, so just m. Okay, I'm going to start with my m to the thirds because that's the biggest one, and we're going in standard form. So a negative 6 plus a 6 cancels because they're the same number, opposite signs. I'm going to move to my squareds. I have a 9m squared. Okay, now I'm going to move to my m's. Excuse me. A negative 10 and a 3 makes negative 7m. And now last I just have my constants, which is a negative 12. And there's my final answer. If you have any questions, let me know.